Namaskar. I'm Kumar Rakesh and welcome to Global Governance News TV. Today we are going to discuss Hinduism and global politics. I think uh, everybody has to think, right to think about the religion, either Hinduism and the Islam and the Judaism and the Christianity, whatever. But now, if you see the globally, Hinduism is now the top center point. Everybody is talking about the different way. Either you go for Australia, either go your UK, either go for Spain, either your America. Everybody is talking about the Hinduism. What's the reason behind it? One reason is important. Now, the great Hindu leader, that is different thing. They don't claim himself Hindu leader, and they always only say the Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, like that, and Sabka Vishwas. But the global Indian, they think about themselves and they're proud on them, Mr. Prime Minister Narendra Bhai Modi. So we are going to discuss on this Hinduism, and everybody know the what is definition of Hinduism. But one fact I want to add here today: there's a history of the Hinduism, how that is depicted, and so many I think uh, and wrongly depicted. So now time has to correct so many things about the Hinduism, Sanatan Hindu dharmas. You know dharma, what is follow, the rituals and how is going on. 1.3 billions according to data. I know the actual data will shown in any website and any links, because most of the most of the dharma, just they are trying to convert it from Hinduism to others, either the Muslim, either the Christianity and other way. So if you see the definition, we know. So we're not going to the spend time on that definition. Or all are here actually Hindu. I also called one Muslim friends just to come, and I just wanted to from them how we define. And one fact is there: the Sanatan Hindu Dharma is the oldest, mother of all religions. This is also fact. Nobody can deny it. If you see the history, 15,000 years old, already proved. And according to recent report I have read in the Hindu paper, the anti-Hindu paper, uh, that published from the Chennai, the oldest paper, they published a report 83,000 is old. That culture, and some reports published by the scholars from the Africa and Australia. So that is already found in India. That is a Bharat. So if you see the chronology and history, the Sanatan Hindu Dharma is the oldest mother of all religion. After that, Buddha has come. Then this is a 2021. This is a Christianity. And after that, I think about 1400, 1400 years of Islam. After that, the Sikh Dharma is about 500 years, but there is no conflicts. But there is only one Dharma, two Dharmas, already conflict with their interest just to hamper hurt the Hinduism. So that is also will be the matter of our discussion. But as we are going to discuss, we have Utsav Chakravarti ji. He is just from USA, Washington. Utsav ji, welcome, Utsav Chakravarti ji. He is also a social thinkers and Hindu Pact and so many organizations he has been associated, and technocrat also. We have Dr. Vivek Kaul from UK. As just a medicos, was always active for the just a culture of Hinduism. How just propagating the Hinduism. With Alok Lahad ji, senior journalist, research scholar, and all GNU associates, and always active on the facts. How this the Hinduism, and also a special project working on the history, how our history has been distorted by the old historians, and that is a leftist, I think the leftist historian, how just the, we all discuss on that. And we have Vandana Jhingan from Chicago, USA. He's also senior journalist.
Namaskar.
So I'll start from today with Sabji. How just you just define the impact of Hinduism on the global politics as well as in India?
Well, historically speaking, Hindus, as you mentioned, the world's oldest religion and continues to be the world's third largest religion. That is a unique distinction to have. To be the oldest and still be the third largest brings the word Sanatan very relevant to the Hindu Dharma community. They have always been extremely influential, economically, socially, theologically. There was a time before Christianity became a global religion that majority of the world population would be considered Hindu according to today's definition of practices and rituals and theology. So historically, the Hindus have been probably the most relevant religious community in continuity
Mummy,
in
mummy.
terms of rituals and theology. Am I interfering with somebody? I heard somebody speaking behind. So anyway, so that's the relevant historically. Today there has been a resurgence because Hindus were colonized geographically to a large extent and even politically for the last 700 years. Majority of the Hindu population had some form of colonization. So in 1947, when India, as we know it in modern political context, became independent, it was for the first time in many centuries that Hindus actually became masters of their own destiny. And when I say Hindus, I'm talking about majority of the Hindu population globally. And in the last 70 years, when you are under colonization for so many centuries, it takes a couple of generations for you to revive and reconnect with your pre-colonial history and pre-colonial narratives. So it has been a churning going on. As you rightfully mentioned, there was a strong influence of the leftist community. There's been a strong influence of the modernist, postmodernist community, which has a more colonial view of things. Uh, all these things made an impact, because of which Hindus took some time, seven or eight decades, last 7 decades, to come out of their colonial narrative. And beginning, early 21st century, we are seeing that Hindus are actually questioning their colonial past and are trying to revive many of the narratives that had actually been distorted to the point where they were just untrue. And you can see that today, the political rise of Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister of India, the social rise of Hindutva as a movement in India and outside India, these are all very good markers of this Hindu revivalism. And I think this is going to stay, because now you have a whole generation of Hindus who are not held down by the colonial narratives anymore.
Okay, so colonial narratives, how the narratives has been formed and why it's formed and what for. Alokji, there is talking about the narratives. So many wrong narratives has been formed before the country, India, that is a Bharat, and globally. And so many myths has been also created just to defame the Hinduism. How do you analyze this situation and this interpretation? Alok, unmute yourself, please.
Definitely, what a certain narrative was creative, and there was a purpose for that narrative. And most of the intellectuals across Europe, especially Germany, and even in United Kingdom, lots of not only intellectuals, even military leaders, they wrote certain books after doing certain surveys in India, and that a completely wrong narrative was created, which was fed to the historians, and then the historians repeated themselves. So that covers what we call the so-called leftist journalists we are talking about. When the colonial power come to India, the first thing they wanted to do was rule the minds. Once you start ruling the lands, and if you can rule the minds, then the very people you are ruling, they will not rebel against you. So now this was very nicely done by the Britishers. There is a difference between the Mughal time and the British time, because Britishers were not using force for any kind of conversion into Islam, or not pulling down the temples, or certain things, or certain values which are already there. They were doing it in a very subtle manner, and they had created a complete narrative in which a Hindu was, in a way, he was starting to question his own feelings, and that concept of secularism comes in. So there can be two things, like either this secularism is imposed on Hindus, or Hindus take to secularism so that they can survive. That's also a possibility. Now just imagine that there is a ruler in a country which is a Muslim ruler, and they are, so you have to say something like Hindu Muslim bhai bhai. That could be the defense policy to begin with. Now you take that whole concept and you change the narrative of being secular to that you respect all the religions which are existing. So that is a more finer type of theory which can be applied. Now you feed all this, and then you create something which is absolute fiction, and we can take one or two points onto that. And one of those fictions is, in Indus Valley civilization, we talk about the absence of horse, which the debate is still on if there was an existing horse or it wasn't, and then there was a false narrative created by the defensive historians and the other way around. And the second was this famous thing called the Aryan invasion theory. And not only this, like even there is a narrative which said that the warrior clans of India, they were not actually born of Indians, but the widows of the warriors were married off to the Greeks, and that's how the Jats come into being. All this is a false creation which is coming up, and this is to, so that you yourself lose confidence in yourself. Now, this colonial hangover, which my previous speaker was talking about, it is not just colonial hangover. Hindus in itself, they are suffering from a deep inferiority complex because of so many years of colonization and constant hampering of let's say the myth which was created after the goddess Kali and the human sacrifices being made and all that, without knowing what really was happening. Now, in the Aryan invasion theory which is propounded, what happens is that later on our own historians, they start repeating it. So history is not repeating itself, but the historians are repeating itself. To take a specific example, for example, we can talk about a very specific leftist historian from Jawaharlal Nehru University, Romila Thapar. She writes in her History of India that when the Aryan invasion starts off, it starts off from north of India, and that is where we have this book of Itihasas in Hinduism, which is Mahabharata, where the people were so, they were so primitive that one woman was marrying, five men, and not only this, one of the heroes of the Pandavas, Bhima, he says, "I'll drink your blood." Now that is the justification she's giving in her book, which could be, in a fit of anger, anybody could be saying something like this. And then he says the Aryan invasion, it completes when Ramayana comes in, and then the Aryas, they reach south of India. And not only do you create a false fictions of an Aryan, because everybody knows in Hinduism that Rama is a precedent of Krishna, which comes in Dwapar. So,
Yeah, there is
you
yoga.
are
Yeah,
just
yeah.
completely ignoring what the facts are there. And then not only this, basing on the European history, where the Pope or the church was very powerful and how it exploited the people, they apply the same rules in India also, and then try to differentiate or create a siege between the intelligentsia, which is called the Brahmins, and the rest of the other castes. So not only are you dividing on various other methods, like you creating this absolutely a fiction history which is there. Fortunately, over the years, even now when you talk about this, then you see that people are still talking about Aryan invasion. Lots of now, even Romila Thapar does not agree to this hypothesis which was there, which is now, it's the other way around. Now people are saying that probably it was the Indians who went from India and they crossed, over to European mainland and all that. And obviously, if in Islam they are talking about so many, idols were broken down. So who did this idols belong to? Because the Jews, they did not do any kind of idol worship. Christianity has some idols, but Christianity does not do idol worship per se. Idols are there,
Yeah,
but they are
yeah.
not worshipped like it is done in Hinduism. And then you have Islam, which is obviously against all kind of idol worship. So, so it is quite possible that the ruling or the most popular religion all over the world was Hinduism only. Like there are some theories which are
Okay.
cropping up.
Okay,
So
okay, Alokji. So just I think you have raised so many points. Just the wrong history has been already depicted by the old historian like Romila Thapar and company, and how just we have just read and now the correctly how the story of Taj Mahal, how the story of Qutub Minar. If you see the architecture of the Mughals and the where the Middle East, you will not find any architecture like the Qutub Minar or the Taj Mahal and all. And there is so many books has been published and banned that time during the Indira Gandhi tenure. Just Taj Mahal is just like not a old Mughal architecture, and how we read in the book, if you remember, 20,000 laborers were made for 20 years. So many lies already narrated and advocated by the different historian. And this is also fact, as you know, since independence till 64, 65, all the education minister were the belonging to the one
Minorities.
community that is called Muslim community. Why and what for? So I'll take Dr. Vivek call. Why this happened, and after that I'll take the Vandana ji. Why this had been done, and what for, by the first Prime Minister. Uh, I'm just hesitate to speak the Pandit
Correct.
Jawaharlal Nehru. Sorry,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
he,
it is. It is known fact.
he was not really Pandit actually. If you see the
It is a
history
real
and whatever he
fact for
writes, the
people who were
discovery
close
of
to.
India and autobiography, most of the false facts are there. I have read all the books, glimpse of world
Correct.
history and whatever he has. So how this is had been done and why for this country? Although on the basis of religion, one country is already given to the Muslims, that was Pakistan.
So two,
Dr.
three
Vivek Kaul.
things I want to say. One is Nehru himself was. It is a known fact he was atheist. He was not a Hindu. He has told, Farooq Abdullah Saab. You also know him. You can ask him this story when he was having dinner with Sheikh Saab in 1964, and he said, "Inshallah, we will Kashmir problem will be solved." He said, "No, there's no Inshallah. There's no God." So he started getting very angry in Teen Murti house. So he was not a Hindu at all. In England, he had gone at the age of 13 in that Harrow, and then he went to Cambridge, and he was with Bloomsbury set and all that. They were basically, atheists. So that is fine. But, he was a very clever chap. He wanted to become the Prime Minister of India and still fool the Hindus. So Hindus' misfortune it is that we don't have a Hindu organization which could fight for us. We never have had. We have to have it. Down the centuries, like even in Spain, Islam came to Spain and India on the same year, 711 AD. It took about 700-800 years for Islam to be removed from Spain. But in India, there was no organization to help Hindus. So these self-appointed leaders like Gandhi and Nehru started becoming, talking for Hindus and
I think some problem with Dr. Vivek called the connectivity problem. I'll come to subject. Just the first round, I'll make it. Then I'll come to you. So, Vandana ji, how the history has been distorted, and by the previous leader, and before the 98, we can say, and before 2014, and how just all many facts related to Hindus Purana, Vedic, and the Upanishad already wrongly depicted, and how the Alok said. I remember once Mr. Arjun Singh was a human resource development minister, and he just inaugurated a exhibition by the Sabnam Hashmi and others. Ram and Sita were the brother sister. What nonsense! And that was so controversy made that time. So how this the all the Congress? I'm taking the name the how the Congress leaders. Why just only for appeasement for the vote politics, or appeasement for, or for the betterment of the country, or the respect to the religion. That is Hinduism.
Good evening, everybody. As you said, the subject line is Hinduism and the global politics.
Yeah.
Who's to be blamed for the situation of we Sanatanis to be ourselves? I must say that we all are responsible. Our ancestors also to be blamed for this. We have never fought for what is right, to be honest. And narrative, who's setting up these narratives and we are accepting it? Now, from 70 onwards, if you see the films itself, television era, which is becoming very popular. Earlier, it used to be films like you have to go and see it. But every evening, like from now it's 24/7, somebody is in your living rooms and you are seeing a narrative which has been set up. All these reality shows, what we are seeing it. Somebody just told me that day, first time, I think one of the reality shows, the dance reality show, which is in channel, they had to show Ramayana because it never used to happen before. Because what has happened, the awakening of Sanatanis has given nightmare to the Bollywood. After this last year episode, June 14th, I think 2020, what has happened to Sushant Singh Rajput. So there is so much coming up now. We face this everywhere because we are living outside India. When it comes to Sanatan, when it comes to Hinduism, the world's most peaceful religion, and we still face this. This is the biggest irony, Rakeshji, if you just see that, how you feel it. We have a history. We keep telling people we have never invaded anybody. We have been home. Even the Jewish community, they felt home in India. They are living peacefully because I work with Israeli community and we have talked to them. But within our own country, the people, there is an influence when we talk about like left influence, we talk about communism influence, we talk about liberal influence. So that is what the main worry has been about the future generation. Will we be able to hold it? 2014, it has taken a turn, but what has happened over a 70 years period? This is not only 70. You go beyond that. Alok ji mentioned very correctly, because when Islam does conversion, that is like on the basis of, but the conversion, Christianity conversion is a soft conversion. It has not been forced upon you because they penetrate. Gradually they do it. But on the contrary, Islam, we are seeing it. When the partition happened in 1947 on the base of religion, like Hindus and Muslims, why did we let them live here for a longer time? What we just had this panel discussion yesterday about the secularism, about that. Will we be able to let the others go now? It will be next to impossible. It is never going to happen. It's never going to happen. It's too late now. So they have to learn. Like there's a lot of different statements coming out from the Hindu leaders. We just heard something Mohan Bhagwat said a few weeks ago, I think, about the DNA issue. So he gave
Yeah.
one another statement yesterday, which is again into discussion. We have to take charge ourselves.
Yesterday also he spoke in Assam. Yeah.
And each and everyone, because it is not about you. You will be gone. I'll be gone. What about the future generations? For them, they have other 57 countries. Do we have anyone? Do we have any organization? Even about the sages, about the Hindu sages, let it be saints and all. For them to come on a dais, it is the nightmare. We cannot do that. Everybody wants to have their own leadership. Why so? At least come together for the sake of saving Dharma. Thank you.
Yeah. So nice. So Rakesh Tiwari from Toronto, Canada, is all advocating for the Hinduism as a Sanatan Hinduism, and the person, a Brahmin from the Gorakhpur, settled in the Toronto, Canada, and just how just you analyze in the land of Canada about the Hinduism, Sanatan Hinduism, and how just you find difference from the India, that is Bharat, and from the Toronto in Canada.
Kumar Rakesh ji,
Just
let
a
me
moment.
say, and there's one thing for First of all, thank you. Thanks for having me in your program, and my greetings to all the panelists who are here. My humble submission to this topic. Before going to the topic, you bring this every subject such as an ocean that even not one debate is never enough. Is like you can continue keep the debating. Like if even Hinduism and global politics, every day you can debate, every day you can discuss.
Sir, whatever, you are right. I totally agree with you. But now, actually, you came late, and Utsav started the lead the talks. So Hinduism now is the center point in the global phenomena. That's why we're talking on that.
Sure. I'm coming to that. But that's my comment and
with many regions, please
on the topic.
Please go on. Yeah, please go.
Now coming back to the Hinduism, I think Hinduism has to be redefined. Has to come. It cannot. It can have the I will say the teachings of our ancestors, okay, and all those and bringing the values and bringing Hinduism. And I am very sure, in my humble understanding, Hinduism of the past is as relevant today as it can be even for the future too. But in the modern phenomena, it has to be discussed. A lot of Hindus, I will say even going to the greater numbers, you can put the percentage 60, 70, 80%. No, other than knowing the name of Hindu gods, whom we call Ram, Krishna, okay, Hanuman, Shiv, no, other than knowing their name, they have not read any scriptures. Most they did is if somebody says, I read Hinduism. So they went to Ramcharitmanas, Tulsi Ramayana. Okay, or they did the Hanuman Chalisa, or they did the Satyanarayan Katha. Not even understanding, let me say, Bhartendu Harishchandra, when he has wrote, and he was at that time, those people who are Hindus, they try to define Hinduism and the misconception about the Hinduism. When he wrote the article, I will say Nibandh, is that Vedic hinsa na bhavati. A lot of misconception even that time, and now we are in much more people are confused. So the truth of Hinduism has to come on the platform, else everybody has their own brand of Hinduism. Every Hindu carries his own brand of Hinduism. There is nothing wrong with that. But as long you do not compromise with the I will say that Sanatan values, okay, those values which carried from that time till now. So Hinduism, I will say, in my understanding, is a religion of the world. But we have to understand what is Hinduism, what is Dharma, what is our Dharma. So we have and those who understood it, they followed it. Be it Muslims, be it Christians, whomsoever they understood the core of it, they followed it. While we are forgetting it, we are forgetting it. We are not going to the essence of it. Whatever Veda said, what Mahabharata said, if Srimad Bhagavata said something, so that has a story, that has a something essence for it. But don't go on blindly and totally misconstrue the facts. So so much can be talked about it. In today's last thing I would like to say. Let me say last thing,
please.
Hinduism has to, in today's world, has to change its form to the modern era. We have to adopt and take something from Islam as well as the Christianity. They are in a missionary mode. They go every knocking the door, talk about it, discuss about it. We have been so much abused by Manusmriti. While I say Manusmriti is the greatest, and I have been, you are Manuwadi, you are Brahmin, like I have, we have been abused, and we are so sheepishly coward that don't even come out and speak against it, that this is wrong. When the Manusmriti said, Dhriti Kshama Damo Astiyam Shacham Indri Nigra Dhir Vidya Satyam Akrodo Dashkam Cha Dharlakshana. That Manusmriti says, and what you pick up? You pick up, because Brahman do this and this, that. This has been in between at the wrong time by the people of the vested interest. Hinduism.
Okay,
in the
okay.
purest form,
So
the
Tiwari, that very great thing just you just share your view and just addressed. As a Brahmin, you are criticizing the Brahminism. But just before just taking the Ussabji, he has so many queries and he'll reply on the all the panelists said. So before that, as you said, Hinduism. So I'll just share something. Hinduism is a diverse system of thought marked by a range of philosophies and shared concepts, rituals, cosmological systems, pilgrimage sites, and shared textual sources that discuss the theology, metaphysics, mythology, Vedic yagna, yoga, academic rituals, and the temple buildings, among other topics. And as well as if you see the Hinduism, the defined Hinduism includes a diversity of ideas on spiritual traditions, but has no expressed the order, no unconstitutable religious authority, no governing body, no prophet, nor any binding holy book. Hindus can choose be polytheistic, pantheistic, panentheistic, pandeistic, henotheistic, monotheistic, monistic, agnostic, atheistic, or humanist. So just you see the how the definition of the different one and what are the different learned people and the scholar talk about the major issues about the faith and lifestyle, vegetarian non-violence, belief in rebirth, and all criticized many times. As you said that will be criticized by different way and different regions. That is only as our earlier panelist says, the Christianity going slowly, and Islam is just like the warrior, courier of a warrior. Utsabji, how just Tiwari ji said about the we have to face the Hinduism has to change the face. I think he has to say. I think he make clear not the face, main original ethos of the Hindus. Just to as we believe in Udar Charitanandu Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, Vidya Dadati Vinyam. All the slokas were from the Vedas and the Upanishad and the Purana. So that is a total the cream of the world knowledge. So how just you do you agree with Mr. Tiwari said? One, the Hinduism has to take the change mode, and why do you think that modern and in the term of the modern era? Just unmute yourself.
I will
Please, yeah.
explain this in two ways.
Yeah.
One is about what Hindu dharma, I don't use the word ism because I don't like ism, what Hindu dharma can do, and the other is what India can do. These are two separate, slightly different entities.
When I object towards the India word, I'm objecting towards India word. Please say Bharat or Hindustan.
No, actually, he may be right on point, Tiwari ji. Actually, India is now technically and practically written by the government of India also.
Well, they're wrong. The government of India is wrong. I don't want to go in that debate, but you know,
I'm not going that debate. But I'm clarifying. As I'm sitting in India,
no,
India that is a Bharat. India that is Bharat. But you earlier discussed in your program that all the universities are Hindustan Socialist Republic Association.
Yes.
So why not Hindustan named after the division? That is also a matter of discussion. You can take it.
I think we should start from our side. We should not. Let me say just one line. We should not. At least I have pledged with myself. Let me say I will not use on my media forum India word. Other than
that's okay. That's okay.
That's it.
Let the Utsabji speak.
Thank you. Please continue. Sorry.
So I'll go into the first one, which is the Hindu dharma aspect.
Yeah.
See, what Rakesh ji said in some ways is true, that we have to evolve and learn from the past mistakes rather than learn from the other side, as he put it.
Rakesh Tiwari ji. Here two Rakesh here. That's why.
Rakesh Tiwari ji. I would call you Kumar ji.
No problem. As you wish.
So that is, but the way we have to understand, Hindu dharma is not a history-centric religion. Okay, it is not a religion where if you take 1 year away from the history of the religion, the entire religion falls apart. You take 632 out of the history of Islam, there is no Islam. You take 1 BC away from the history of Christianity, there is no Christianity after that. So Hindu Dharma is not like that. Hindu Dharma is an evolutionary system. To explain it in a modern software perspective, it's an open source software. It has a basic structure, but it accumulates and evolves, because of which our philosophies are also accumulative and evolutionary. So, you can start with Mimamsa, Purva Mimamsa, Sankhya Yoga, and then move on to Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, and Dvaita. So they're all evolving. But this is the part which is important. There is an overall structure that is based on a strong theological and epistemological base that is not known to current generation of Hindus enough. So that is the first step we have to take. The strong theological and epistemological root on which Hindu Dharma is based on needs to be brought and properly studied and re-educated it doesn't have to be educated to the soldier on the battlefield or the person who is the CEO of a company, but the larger intellectual class has to understand it and promote it and revive it. That is number one. Number two is what the India aspect of things, not India, Bharat aspect of things have in terms of
so nice.
political outreach and administrative approach. One of the biggest mistakes we have been making, even after Hindutva movement became strong, is that our focus has been to look at the history and revive the reality of that history in the current geographical proximity of India. That is a mistake, in my opinion. The real damage to Hindu Dharma actually started happen after the Battle of Qasidia in southern Iran or eastern Iraq. And we have to understand the history of Hindu Dharma from the Battle of Qasidia all the way to the Battle of Nahwan, to the Battle of Talas River in northern Turkmenistan, because that is where Hindu Dharma actually lost. Hindu Dharma didn't lose when Mahmud Ghaznavi came and entered all the way up to what is present day India. Or Muhammad Ghori conquered Ajmer and then Delhi. That is not when Hindu Dharma actually lost. Hindu Dharma started losing at the Battle of Talas River. But the fact that we don't even recognize that, or our historians don't even consider that a real Hindu historical narrative, is our biggest mistake right now. History of Talas River was fought where the Kashmiri Hindu kings, along with the Tang dynasty of China, actually fought a battle with the Abbasid Caliphate next to Merv, which is in Uzbekistan, Turkey. Hindus actually fought in that battle against the Abbasid Caliphates. So, we don't know about Bappa Rawal other than some Rajasthani poetry. That is our weakness. What Bappa Rawal achieved with the Umayyad and the Rashidun Caliphate, containing them for 300 years, no mean feat. Spain was being conquered when Bappa Rawal was fighting back against, or the Chalukyas were fighting back against the Umayyad Caliphates. That is the history we are not teaching. So I'm just trying to say that from the Bharat political administrative aspect, we have to revive that history. And from the Hindu Dharma aspect, we have to revive the history of Hindu theology and its evolutionary nature in its core belief, epistemological and theological system. If we can do these two things, the rest will all come automatically. Next, the Battle of Talas will be won by us, not by them. And we won't have to wait for them to come to Panipat. For 700 years, we wait. They will come cross Lahore, they will cross Bhatinda, they will cross Jammu, they will cross entire Indus plain and reach Panipat, and that's when we are ready to fight. Why? We didn't learn from the first battle of Panipat. So that's my take on this.
So Vandana, Alok ji, how just Utsav ji said about the history and just how the Hinduism lost and growing. I think nowadays we can see how Hinduism is growing and the giving impact on the global politics as we're discussing today. So how we just analyze the impact of Hinduism on the global politics?
I couldn't agree with anybody more than what he said. Like, that's the reason that my new love for history, and especially the true Hindu history, it has come up. Now, first of all, we have to learn who our heroes were and how systematically our heroes have been pushed into background, or they have been, a new kind have been, created for us who are actually anti-heroes. That's the problem with this. Now, this impact on the global politics, I don't think we are too big for that right now. Hindus are expanding. We are going to all parts of the world. The one thing we have is population, which another thing which is happening is, which can be of interest to us, and that is that the church going habit in Europe and in the United States is also on the decline. But we have to educate our own people. Like, for example, on one side, we are very proud that we don't have one single book. In Hinduism, we have a complete encyclopedia. But that's also the unfortunate part of it, because nobody knows where to start. I mean, for example, let's see in Sikhism. In Sikhism, you have the Granth Sahib Ji, and then you have a smaller book, which is the Gutka Sahib. So in case you can't go there, you can at least go to a smaller book. What is stopping the Hindu intellectuals to make a summary type of a book? Like, you don't need the whole Mahabharata. Just with Gita, you can handle the philosophical part of Mahabharata. I think it's time, like King James edition also came up in Bible, and which was considered the authentic Bible edition, which almost every sect of Christianity is using. What is stopping the Hindu intellectuals to write a version of a book which can be easily accessed by almost everybody, so that we can educate our young and people who have been, like, for example, in my case, I was reading Max Muller and I was reading Mackenzie till I find somebody else coming and telling me that these books were written with an agenda in mind. So there is no authentic literature which has been written by a really learned Hindu person. And we are reading books which were written by the Britishers or the Germans or whoever it is. So first of all, where we access our Hinduism, we are doing it in an incorrect manner. So there should be a committee set up. There should be an organization. VHP was there, but I don't know in which direction is it going, which actually gives it the path and the way, which will lead to something more concrete, and teach our own history to our own children, so they are proud of their what happened. I mean, I was reading somewhere that the Vietnamese said that we took inspiration from Maharana Pratap, and Maharana Pratap is shown as a loser, somebody who abandoned the Haldi Ghati, which is not actually factually correct. So our history has to be rewritten. It is good that the government is taking some steps onto it, and then we have to do some real authentic writing, so that our young ones who have no idea, I mean, just go ahead, and what Tiwari ji was saying, go ahead and ask a normal Hindu person. It's not a young person, it could be also an old person. They would not know more mantras than a Gayatri mantra, and probably their only way of praying is putting Om Jai Jagdish Hare, and that too on the CD or whatever, and that's how the prayers end. I mean, this is a real fact. So like Vandana ji said, we don't have to first start blaming anybody or everybody. We have to first look inside and blame ourselves, and do some thought churning, and see where did we go wrong, and correct whatever we have done wrongly. They are very learned people. I don't consider myself very learned, but there are people who can actually join together, and now technology allows people like Udzab ji. He's sitting in the United States, we are talking here. We could also do something like a wiki where all this information is gathered, it is chaffed, and then you come up with something which is considered a authentic Hindu wiki. Like there is a Sikh wiki. Why can't we work on it? No work is being done because nobody is actually interested in all this. We are busy making money all the time, and we don't understand that all this has a very subtle movement going on, and which you don't notice. Then you start suddenly noticing that, oh my goodness, they were already there in my Bollywood movies. They are already there in my textbook. They are teaching me wrong history of myself, and they're telling me, like we were talking about Manusmriti. What has happened is that the certain intellectuals of certain religions, they have taken out this text, misinterpreted it, and spread it so widely that you start questioning yourself. And the reason is that you've never read your text. and you've never gone and read the text of the other religions to see how many, places you can counter them. How many times does the word war coming in the Bible? I mean, or how many times does the word peace come in Quran? You do a statistical survey of this and you'll be surprised.
Yeah. So nicely, just you. I think network okay, Alok ji. I think sometimes seems to be still. So how just you directed and the do you think Vandana ji, as Alok ji said, there is a need to rewrite the definition of Hinduism as just we see the Wikipedia, and I'll just talk to Utsabji and all. Just they have written the third largest religion. Third means the first is the Christianity. Second one, how the OIC has developed, I think Islam, and the third one, Hinduism. As I think so, but they have not written the third largest. They have not given the numbers. But we see the population, we see the followers, how this has been distorted, and why this fact has been distorted. We have to also look into that. So that is also important. So now just I need to just from you this type of the definition and the distortion of the fact, what we should do for the
Sure.
politics and for the society, global society.
Sure. Because as we're talking about Wikipedia, I was reading the statement from the founders of Wikipedia. They said, we have been overtaken by the leftist. If
That's
even
the point. That's the big
Yeah.
point. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very big point because,
Yeah.
it was a contribution of individuals about certain, like what you are writing about. If I present something, you will find within the matter of hours, you will find it will be rechanged. Who's doing it? There is no control. So is there a need? This is definitely a 911 need with an authority where we can write about Sanatan, to be honest. Because if we will not be preserving, as he has said, our scriptures are so very long. Kids don't have time. Sundays, if you go to, like in the Western world also, even in India, I have seen it. I used to take a bus in the morning at 5:30 a.m. 5:30 a.m. when I was working and teaching as a yoga teacher. I was very little. I was not even 18 at that time. There used to be a first bus which used to be costing free of cost, taking people to Bangla Sahib Gurdwara, Rakab Sahib Gurdwara, and the mom used to have little toddlers in their laps. And I used to feel, here our mother feel, मेरा बच्चा सो रहा है, उसको सोने दो, उसका नींद खराब नहीं होना चाहिए. Because they were putting habits. Every Sunday they used to go to the Gurudwaras. Every morning 5:30 it used to happen. I'm talking about from Kishanganj New railway station bus stop. The bus used to come from Trinagar going to Bangla Sahib and then Rakabganj, and they used to be back by 7 o'clock. But is that happening in our, because there is no habit. We were very happy when we noticed that there are electrical bells coming in our temple. And we celebrated, oh, we got electrical bells in our temple. Did we realize the reason? Because we don't have people, those who used to go and ring the bells at the temple. I remember when we were little, we used to go Aarti time, like whatever the Aarti time of our local temple is, we used to go bring prasad and come home. One of the family member definitely used to be there. So is that happening now? Because the kids are busy with their gadgets and stuff like that. Have we penetrated that kind of information? No. So we failed right there. So whatever has been taught to the school, my mom, what history she read and what I read, it's totally different. We still are talking about the Babar Road, Aurangzeb Road, like after 75 years in India. Why? Why we couldn't change? So everything does count. It is in the mind. And now we are seeing, when we're talking to change the names, like, Allahabad to Prayagraj. So there was so much hue and cry. Oh, we are just getting back to what it was. Why we are not able to talk? And who's to be blamed? And the media is also playing absolutely wrong, because there is no cross and checks, because they've been used to. They get $1,200 to put one piece of article. Utsavji, you know that very, very well when talking about Washington Post, New York Times. On who are the people? Our own people, those who are sitting in India and writing against India. When it comes to Holi, what is Holi? And in the campuses in the United States of America, there has been no Holi, the color and we found so very, means like we have also limitation as a people of diaspora, limited because we have, and our community, like I'm being very honest, Hindu feels my child, he is going to be a good school, I have a good car, I have a big home, and I'm good enough. Going to mandir, we don't see that
So
much.
yeah, so you are right, just Vandana ji. There's a matter of interpretation also and matter of inclusion also. How we include our thoughts in the current mainstream. Dr. Vivek call. You come and going.
Sir,
I don't know
thank
what
you.
the problem is. Network problem and your
Yeah,
some own
yeah.
problem. I don't know.
No,
But
it's
that's
a
okay. But
network
you are
problem.
here.
Yeah, network problem sometimes. But what I want to add on to everything which everybody has said, I agree with them.
Please, please,
Till
please.
Hinduism doesn't have an organization looking after Hindu things, nothing is going to change. Even what Vandana ji says is right. We have to have Aarti programs, like Sunday schools, morning, evening Aartis, where we help fellow Hindus, poor Hindus who are converting to Christianity. Till that organization is not formed in India for Hindus to as a pressure group, Hinduism will go down the drain. It will go on dwindling because we will not have anybody to fight for our own rights. Even our Hindu temple money goes to other religions. Why? Because there is no religious group among Hindus which are all united and they speak for one, like Akal Takht, SGPC, and all those things. And
The Makkah,
somebody
like
said
the
the right
Makkah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Makkah. And also somebody said the right thing about the book. We have to have a saral book for Hinduism, where Hinduism is explained in a very simple way. It's not rocket science. The problem is not with Hindus, or but like Vandana ji is saying that we want to go to and have rich things, which is right. The problem is with the top. Our Hindu religious leaders and organizations have so much ego. They do not want to sit together and sort the matter out. Sadhguru won't talk to, Sri Sri, they won't talk to RSS, they won't talk to VHP. This problem is at the top, not at the bottom. Bottom people, Hindus, are hardworking and, law abiding and working for their families. And other thing which I want to tell you is that we English speaking Hindus have no connection with the poor non English speaking Hindus. The our fighters, street fighters, will come from the non English speaking areas to fight in gully and kochas. Till a structure is not laid into Hinduism, it is a religion which is going, becoming weaker and weaker. Our why are poor Hindus getting converted? Because they are very poor. So Hinduism is another religion which has not been able to look after its poor, like Christianity, Sikhism, or Islam does. Go to any major city, all the beggars in any crossroad are Hindus because Hinduism has failed as a religion to look after its poor. Our caste system has to go away. It has to be thrown. It is a bloody historical baggage. But who will do it? Not intellectuals. All these Hindu organizations have to leave their egos aside, join up, and sort things out. Otherwise, we'll be talking till the cow comes home. It won't change. That is it.
Okay. Okay. Tiwari ji. Hinduism has to be changed. Just unmute yourself, please.
Okay.
Hinduism has to be changed itself, whatever going on. What do you think?
Okay. Well, definitely. You hit you hit the nail rightly. Okay. Definitely has to change. Now the change comes from within. Now let me go a couple of things which I heard. And let me correct it. Whatever limited knowledge of Hinduism I have it. There is a great discussion, and even still is going on. The people are condemning and saying about even the word Hindu. It's a Hindu the word was given to us by Arabs, and who called us all kind of names. But that's wrong. Dr. Radhakrishnan, Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, has written in his book East and West. I read, and he has given actually not given book. I will say that he has given a lecture.
He has written also book on Gita.
No, let me complete. In Montreal University, when he was visiting professor here, at that time he has given a lecture, and he mentioned the I'm talking about the Hindu word. So he says that he described at that time, and it has been he has not written the shloka himself. I think if I'm not wrong here, it is from Brahmanayak Upanishad or somewhere from there. It is there. But let me quote that. He says that Himalayam Samarabhya Yavadindu Sarovaram Tang Devang Nirmitam Desham Hindusthanam iti uchyate. This is the definition of Hinduism. So from starting from Himalaya to the Hindu Sarovar, whatever is there, that's Hindu, and whosoever lives in that area is Hindu. Now let me come back to the couple of things that Hinduism has. A lot of books, a lot of scriptures, everything is like you can devote your not one lifetime, so many lifetimes, and still you won't be able to go through that. But couple of things, still we have the brief of it. We always kept the brief. If you are not able to do 2 hours yoga, do only you do the Surya Namaskara, and you will be able to complete yourself. Don't do too much. You can do that. If you are not able to read all the Vedas, all the Upanishads, read Gita. Why? Because Ved Vyasa says, Gita Sugita Kartabhya Kimanya Shastra Vistre Ya Swayam Padmanabhasya Mukh Padmani Nisrita. Okay, and Bhagwan Krishna says himself, Gita me hridayam partham, Gita me saram uttamam, Gita me jnana matyugram, Gita me jnana mavyayam, Gita me chottam sthanam, Gita me paramam padam, Gita me paramam guhyam, Gita me paramo guru. That's only Gita I'm talking about. Now let's go talk about the Tulsidas Ramayana, which we all know about it. It says Nana Puran Nigmagam Samatam Yad Ramayane Nigaditam Kwachidanya Topi. So why I'm saying this, you can do and even go minimum, but something has to be done basically. Every Hindu, where we all fail, morning prayer or evening prayer, where you can do 10 slokas, they are there.
But Tiwari, I'm not stopping you and not intervening you. What you are just sharing with views and how the Dr. Vivek Kaul said. One source of power, not like the different. We have so many organizations.
I'm coming to that. Let me say this. So these are the basic things. All these powers.
Because I have now only 4 minutes and now five.
I understand. I'll finish up very shortly.
Please, all this 20 seconds, please.
All these so-called gurus who are there, Sri Ravi Shankar, Ramdev, Sadguru, this everybody, if they understood the essence of it, they will never. If they have an ego of meeting with each other, then they have not even understood the essence of Hinduism. Because first thing, Bhagwan says himself, I don't like Garva Abhimana. He finished it. Now coming back, so they should sit definitely, and I don't think so they will be able to. They will not sit. They will sit, and in my humble understanding. Now coming back to this has to be done. Number 2 things I will say, and then I'll and what I'm talking about it. Number 1 is every Hindu must have something definitely daily to do work. Means when we do our prayer, okay, when we along with when we say when we do the morning prayers or evening prayers, our mantra, that when we recite it every day, okay, and those mantras, they are not too many, 5-10 mantras maximum, okay, Gayatri mantra, okay, Lord Shiva's mantra, all those things are there. And when we even at the every when we do the prayer, always we say we talk about Sarve Bhavantu Sukhna Sarve. That's included in our prayer. Now coming back to this, there has to be definitely a missionary. We have to be a missionary. Our own essence, our own shastras artha, our own, which is lost, and it's not lost by itself. Deliberately, a lot of things has been done. A lot of things are being done now. So we have to fight towards it, and this is the right approach. By when you brought this subject on this type of debate and discussion should be more, okay, where people can participate. They can talk about it.
So nice of you. So nice of you. That's why with your all inputs, I'll take the last round to all of the panelists. What is the impact? The state question, I think, you will all the learned people, a state answer. Start from the subject. How do you just find nowadays that there is any impact of Hinduism on global politics as well as the politics on Bharata?
Well, there is beginning to be an impact of Hindu Dharma on global politics. The rise of Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India actually has been taken very seriously globally. And the fact that he won a re-election makes it even more impactful. So there are thought leaderships around the world who are seriously considering this revival of Hindutva, Hindu-ness, as beginning of a civilizational move. I won't say it is there. It needs to be there for another generation to be civilizational in nature. But it is the beginning. And they are acting on it. There is a reason why you have George Soros, Pierre Omidyar, and all these people pouring in billions of dollars into India to counter this. Because they see it as a geopolitical challenge. I just wanted to say one thing that, one of the things Hindus have to learn and revive is that Ghar Wapsi is a real strategic tool. It can become a geostrategic tool as well. And the reason I say that is that it's this whole concept that we do not coerce, or we don't do conversion. This is like the simplistic way people say.
Yeah.
There is a reason there is something called Heliodorus column to Sri Vasudev in Vidisha. Heliodorus was a Greek. There is a reason why the Alcon Huns became Shiv Bhakts. There is a reason where the Kushans used to worship Kuber. So, throughout the Central Asian Silk route, Hindus were converting people left and right to Hindu traditions. The Afghan Shahis were Turkic in nature. They had nothing to do with Indian ethnicities. But the Afghan Shahis worshipped Bhagwan Shiv, Vishnu, and Ganesha. There is a very famous Ganesha from Kabul, in Kabul Museum. So this whole notion, and this is something we have to revive to, that Hindu Dharma doesn't do Ghar Wapsi, because is all bunkam. It's our lost colonial narrative. So we have to really consider that geostrategic tool. Long back when Sri Ajit Ji Doval was the head of Vivekanand Foundation, he had told me that before he became a very important person.
He was important person always, huh?
He was always, but now he's in a very powerful place.
He's just, I think, after PM running doing so many things. Vandana ji, this is the same question. Do you think the Hindu on the impact on the national Bharat politics and as a global politics?
Absolutely, 100%. Because first of all, and on a concluding note with this 30 seconds of mine, I'm going to say we all have to, I never call, if you'll read wherever I'm saying, I'm Vandana Jhingan and Hindu American. I always say that. So we should be taking pride in who we are.
So nice.
We cannot just say Indian American, because there are so many Indians. And it comes to how we are going to narrate it to the future generation. Are we going to tell? They should take.
So nice.
Because what has happened in the school colleges, Utsav is very well aware of, we used to have Hindu student associations. But then gradually, it came to South Asian Students Association. All the people, South Asian, the Pakistani also came. But they have another Muslim Students Association. They never left that, where ours was converted. Indian Bar Association, 1,200 Indians, 99.9 Hindus. One day I go and I say it is SAJA. What is SAJA? South Asian Bar Association. You have been 40 years old organization. How did it happen? Because it's a mindset they've been played. I said from next year onwards, because we have created all these kind of things. Indian American Democratic Organization. And the second generation, third generation, they say, no. We are all one. We should not even be talking about this right here. 40 years old organization, we say IADO has Pakistani person as a board member. So what has happened? Because we let it go. So, thank you.
please, Dr. Vivek Kaul. I don't want to use the word what I used before the Lieutenant General of the Bharat. Before me, when he just called Inshallah. How you train like this? You are a army personnel of our country. Who has taught like that? Sorry, sir, I wasn't posted in the Jammu Kashmir, and so this slang already adopted. I'm sorry, you should not be. If you listen, please change your habits. So actually, whatever I feel, I just
it was joke. It was joke.
No,
I don't use it.
No, sir, jokes, sir. But I am conveying just whatever you say. But we are talking the serious thing. So thank you, sir. So nice, Alok ji, and then I'll Vivek ji. The same question.
I don't see, a real impact of Hinduism on European politics as such. There is interest in Hinduism, and strangely, like in case you go, let's say you do a bhajan sandhya or a very simple kind of a Janamastami celebration, you try to do it, you won't find more than 6, 7, 8, 10 people there. And if the same event is being done and it is being offered to the Europeans, you might find 40, 50 people in that place. So what I'm trying to say is that the original Hindus, so to say, there is a dissect from their own culture, and then there are people who were not born into this thought process. They are getting interested in this. But if it is having any geopolitical impact, I don't think that thing is very slow. But I agree 100% with Dutsav ji that this is not ghar vapsi. Ghar vapsi is a concept that you were a Hindu and you've converted to something else. We don't convert. We just embrace people. So anybody and everybody who wants to come in, he's ready. There is another word which is used by the Arya Samajis. They call it Shuddhikaran, which means you become Ashuddh and now you becoming Shuddh again, which I don't like the word very much. So, I think there should be a word for it which says like, you embarrass everybody and you say, okay, come in. We are part of the Ganges is there and you want to have a dip into it, please go ahead and dip into it, and we welcome you with all our heart and mind. We don't need to convert anybody. If you feel that inside you are a Hindu and you have this enlightenment and you attracted towards it,
Yeah.
you can join the force. The problem is our Prohits. I know somebody who left Spain, is living on the banks of Varanasi, and it is her desire to go to Kashi Vishwanath temple, and she is not allowed just because she is very white and she's a blonde girl and blue eyes, and it is impossible for her to enter that temple. One day I had a discussion with this gentleman. I told him, I said, how do you know if I'm a Muslim or I'm not?
No, I just stated there's so many
Or I
problems.
could be any other religion. You are saying the entry is allowed only to Hindus. But how did you check if I am or I'm not? Just because I'm brown and I've got black hair, that mindset has to change. So gradually, for example, even in Jagannath Puri, I was with a Spanish friend and she wanted to go in, and she said, no, we even stopped Mrs. Gandhi. I said, shame on you. Why should you stop? It's the house of God. Anybody and everybody should be allowed inside in case the intentions are to go and pray there. Now that is the mindset has to change, and we need to do some real solid work with intellectuals like all those who are present here, but me. But I'm always there to help. Thank you so much.
So nice of you. So last take Dr. Vivek call.
Sir,
I'll take
Hindus-
last take Rakesh Tiwari also. Please.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hindus are very impactful all over the world. We underplay ourselves. We are the most liked person after white people because we follow all the rules. They want us to be their colleagues and they do like us. And as Vandana ji says, two back-to-back victories of Modi ji has made him very popular. Though I'm not his greatest fan, but one has to be very honest. He is liked all over the world. Plus, you 300 million Indian middle class, which is a huge marketplace for Europeans. Nobody can ignore it. Ignore India. India is a huge market for their cars, everything, all technology. We gulp. Go to India. You go to any Indian middle class house, you'll be thinking that you are in America. They have got iPad, they got everything what we have got. There's no technological difference. Like in 70s, we had Fiat and Ambassador in India. I was saying,
Dr. Vivek, I'm sorry. Actually, you're running up time. Actually, so be please.
but India is doing very well. I must say that we Indians are very Hindus. People are very proud of it. Vandana will tell you, a lot of Americans like to be in our houses.
Yeah. Last take Rakesh Tiwari. Very brief one, 20 seconds.
Well,
Already 5 minutes.
my brief is this one simple thing: we should give whomsoever whom we know, okay, the person is not Hindu or even Hindu, do you have Gita? Provide them Gita. When Prime Minister Narendra Modi went to Japan, he has given them Gita. So that's what is there. Have some 5-6 Gitas in language, whatever is possible, provide them with the respect, and read yourself too, because nothing, it just started that. Okay, I think we'll do great. Start from there, and then whatever we discussed today and more, coming on time, we'll discuss it more. But at least we must do that, and we should read ourselves and provide Gita. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So nice of you. And just you have all just narrated how just we just analyze the Hinduism, the global politics, how the politics is going on, and how the impact and how the impact should be more as well as in the Bharat and as well as in India, global also. And so many suggestions, so many inputs you already given from the Spain and from UK and from USA and from Canada. So really, I think if you are here, we can think and analyze the impact of Hinduism on the global politics is growing day by day and will grow like anything. As we understand, as we want to just share with you. Thank you just to participate in this special show of the Hinduism and the global politics. And thanks to all panelists and in the Global Governance News TV. And we welcome you. And again, we'll discuss, as Rakesh Tiwari said, again we can discuss for the more positivity and for the more impact. So nice of you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.